What if I told you Tether is 100% backed? There is cash sitting in banks which amounts to the exact total of USDT issued. You would say, "Fook, yeah, Mr. Swope, the B-run is back on, yo." And I would have to agree. But Tether isn't backed in the conventional way people think. There is definitely some funky business going down. So are you ready to get funky with your boy Chico, young warriors? Then say, "Oh-ho!" because it's time for Chico Crypto. Everyone knows about the mystery of the Tether stablecoins backing in the crypto space. But if you don't, people have been wondering what backs Tether since 2017. In 2019, John M. Griffin and Amin Shams, two college professors and researchers, shocked the crypto world with this paper. Is Bitcoin really untethered? From the paper's abstract, we can see they say, this paper investigates whether Tether, a digital currency pegged to the US dollar, influenced Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency prices during the 2017 boom. Using algorithms to analyze blockchain data, we find that purchases with Tether are timed following market downturns and result in sizable increases in Bitcoin prices. Rather than demand from cash investors, these patterns are most consistent with the supply-based hypothesis of unbacked digital money inflating cryptocurrency prices. Through their deep research, they came to the conclusion that the 2017 boom was manipulated by unbacked tethers. And this has continued to this day, with Bloomberg putting out a punishing article in October of last year, titled "Anyone Seen Tether's Billions?", where they once again say that most likely Tether isn't fully backed. The article states, exactly how Tether is backed, or if it's truly backed at all, has always been a mystery. For years, a persistent group of critics has argued that despite the company's assurances, Tether Holdings doesn't have enough assets to maintain the one-to-one exchange rate, meaning its coin is essentially a fraud. The reason for these hard-hitting academic papers and articles from major news outlets? Tether has never done a full audit. Tether was going to do an audit in 2018, but the relationship with their auditor, Friedman LLP, was dissolved. From a CoinDesk article on this, Tether stated this regarding the failed audit. We confirm that the relationship with Friedman is dissolved. Given the excruciatingly detailed procedures Friedman was undertaking for the relatively simple balance sheet of Tether, it became clear that an audit would be unattainable in a reasonable time frame. The company remains committed to the process, the spokesperson for Tether added. Well, 3 years went by and no full audit. But in July of last year, Tether's general counsel, Stuart Hoegner, said this on a live interview with CNBC regarding a full audit. Let's listen in.
Quick question, just to follow up on the audit, to go back a tiny little bit. I know that you said you would be thrilled to be the first sort of crypto company and stablecoin to go through an audit. Do you have a date in mind?
We don't at this time, no. But we're reaching back a couple of years for the financial audit, and that is in process.
Okay, do you think that's years away, months away? Any
months,
clues?
not years.
Only months away?
Yes, we think so.
Tether's talking head said an audit was months away in July of last year. Well, 1 year and 2 months have gone by and no audit still. I wonder why. Well, Tether will never do an audit because they aren't the ones with the cash in the banks. It's other crypto entities, major ones at that, who Tether basically controls, who have the ability to bank within the United States. This research comes from Data Finovation on Twitter, who I highly recommend anyone who watches this channel to follow. This research is downright amazing, and it sheds a major light on how the crypto space works. Last month, Data Finovation put out this article, USDT, US Banks, and More Coincidences, which I've included down in the description. Read it for the full details. I highly recommend it. The intro to the article says, Perhaps the greatest mystery in the financial markets today is what's going on with Tether. Well, here we lay out a little corner of the global banking system, where a quantity of real USD seems to match Tether's outstanding balance shockingly well. There is no question these are real US dollars, and there are circumstantial connections, strong ones, to parties close to Tether. In the article, Data Finovation is able to get public data from two of crypto's biggest US banks, Silvergate and Signature Bank. The info is readily available since they reside within the US. Data Finovation is able to break down cash on hand from business deposits, which is mostly coming from the crypto companies these banks have partnered with or work with. And the cash deposits these banks have matches Tether USDT balances since 2019 shockingly well. Q3 2019, the two banks had 2.7 billion cash on hand, while Tether had 4.1 billion Tether outstanding. Q4 2019, 3.7 billion cash and 4.1 billion Tether. Q1 2020, 6 billion cash and 6.2 billion Tether. Q2 2020, 14 billion cash and 9.2 billion Tether. Q3 2020, 18.2 billion cash and 15.1 billion Tether. Q4 2020, 26.2 billion cash and 21.1 billion Tether. Q1 2021, $41 billion cash and 40.7 billion Tether. Q2 2021, 58.4 billion cash and 62.4 billion Tether. Q3 2021, 67.7 billion cash and 68 billion Tether. Q4 2021, 76.4 billion cash and 78.3 billion Tether. Q1 of this year, 82.9 billion cash at Silvergate and Signature, and 81.4 billion Tether outstanding. And finally, Q2 of this year, 77.5 billion cash and 66.4 billion Tether. After comparing quarter by quarter changes at the banks, which also match shockingly well, Data Finovation says there is absolutely no reason these numbers should have anything to do with each other naturally. Tether is not holding their cash reserves at these banks. Or are they? After analyzing that this cash isn't USDC's backing, Data Finovation says this in the What's Going On section. This is not Tether's cash surely, at least not directly, but what is it? First, this proves enough cash looks to have entered the ecosystem to back Tether. Absolutely nobody is claiming these banks are lying about both their deposit liabilities to both the SEC and the FDIC. Second, it suggests a theory. Maybe Tether's commercial paper consists of obligations of whoever owns these USD deposits. Again, there's money here, and if one company promises it to another, there is a sense in which that is commercial paper. Tether has done attestations, not a full audit of their holdings, but in these attestations, they have revealed early on that a majority of what was backing Tether was commercial paper. And there were many theories going around that this was Chinese commercial paper, but most likely it's whoever owns these USD deposits at Silvergate and Signature Bank. So who is it? Well, things get even weirder, but a bit more clear with Data Finovation's next article, posted about 2 weeks after the first. The article is titled, Minor Stablecoins and USDT Issuance, Even More Coincidences, which I've also included in the description. Please give it a read. In the article, he statistically analyzes the flow of minor stablecoins issuances, aka minting, and redemptions, aka burning, and comes to a conclusion. Under the section, What is Happening, Data Finovation says, USD flowing through these minor stables end up at Silvergate and Signature, somehow as some kind of maybe outsourced backing for USDT. They pass through these minor stables as a sort of funnel into the Tether complex. So most of these minor stables in the crypto ecosystem are helping back Tether, as many of them have connections to Silvergate and Signature in one way or another. They are fully a part of the Tether USDT complex. Now, Data Innovation's most recent article puts it all together. This was put out just last week, and it's titled USDT on Tron, FTX, and What the Fuck is Really Happening. And once again, I highly recommend reading it. But the TLDR of the article says, FTX and Alameda minted nearly all the USDT on Tron and operate as something like a central bank or reserve manager for a shadow East Asian USD payment system. We provide convincing evidence from novel on-chain analysts that shows how a real, albeit mostly not kosher, crypto use case works. This data also makes plain that Binance and Cumberland runs the Ethereum part of the same ecosystem, and that these two groups or parties probably coordinate their actions in some way. So what does this all mean? It means that it's very likely Tether is majorly backed by commercial paper from a variety of crypto companies, mostly from FTX and their market maker Alameda, as well as Binance and their market maker Cumberland. Do you remember the Protos research paper from November of last year, titled The Tether Papers? Well, this showed a breakdown of who owns all the Tethers issued. Number 1 was Alameda, number 2 was Cumberland, and number 3 was other Binance market makers. These market makers make up 70% of all Tether issued. So my theory, Tethers are issued unbacked to large and powerful crypto entities like Binance and Cumberland, as well as FTX and Alameda. Tether receives commercial paper in return in hopes that these entities will manipulate the markets and make the USD back, which they always do, as there are many suckers in the crypto industry leverage trading on their centralized exchanges and having their money erased in a snap. These entities are able to bank in the US, which Tether will never be able to do. So it's a win-win-win for all parties involved. So has Tether issued FTX any commercial paper? Well, this question was actually asked to Sam Bankman-Fried himself by a panel set up by CoinDesk, and you can see the guilt in his eyes. He dodges the question and just starts spouting a bunch of nonsense. Let's watch now.
Was it commercial paper? I mean, did you guys issue commercial paper to them to receive Tether? Or we don't even know.
And I think what I'd say is, again, like, I'm not going to be able to prove to you 100% exactly what's there. But I think that there's sort of one version of this, which is like, there's some chance something bad happens, but no particular reason to think of it, which is, I think, what the right prior is here. And there's another, which is like, there's some chance there's something bad here. I'm going to assign a 75% probability to it, which I think is crazy. And so I think what I would push back on there is like, try and be quantitative, right? When you say like, you don't know what's there, I agree. But what are your priors, right? What's your probability? Like this is all probabilistic. It's all quantitative.
Well, one thing we do know is that Tether, if they were in the Financial Times had a great report on this, and that is if they were in fact in the commercial paper market, they would have been seen. People who were in the commercial market already, commercial paper market, would have seen that kind of a volume, 60 billion, or actually it's a little bit less than 60 billion. They would have seen that kind of a volume in commercial paper, which is also why it's ringing a lot of alarm bells, is that nobody has actually seen that kind of flow anywhere. And that would have made them a huge player in that market.
Yeah, and look, if your prior is that you're pretty confident Tether is a fraud, this isn't getting convinced you it's not.
As you can see, when asked if commercial paper was issued, he quickly just shakes his head no, without saying adamantly that this is 100% false, and while his arm is fidgeting pretty intensely. And then when the interviewer talks about no one seeing this type of volume of commercial paper in the markets, Sam is touching his face and just licking away at his lips with his arms crossed. All signs that a person is possibly not telling the truth. I'm not accusing anyone of doing anything illegal, so don't sue me. This is just my theory that Tether has been issued commercial paper from crypto entities, and FTX just might be one of them. But if this is the case, regulators will eventually find out and shut it all down. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.